Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Ciara Bernard here. Thank you once again for joining me. We are getting ready to get into some pop talk. I know that's why you came, so you can hear all the juicy things that I have to share with you. So first off, we're gonna jump right into the fact that there was a government shutdown this weekend. Did you guys know that? Like from Friday to Monday, the government was shut down. Now, the senators stayed back in Washington Saturday, Sunday to try to hash things out, and they were apparently able to come to some kind of agreement, but it's short term. It only lasts for about 3 more weeks, and then they are going to be going through it all over again. You know, the state of where our country is just unfortunate, but you know, women are rising up and we are pushing the movement forward, and we are really blazing the trail and saying, listen, we want our voices to be heard. And that's why the Women's March happened this weekend as well. While the government was shut down, women were marching for the 1-year anniversary of the Women's March. But it was just so fitting, the time frame. How ironic that the 1-year anniversary of Trump's presidency coincided with the 1-year anniversary of the Women's March. But that makes sense because obviously when he got inaugurated, the next day the women marched and their numbers were a lot bigger, huger, bigly than his. And of course he debated that, but that's neither here nor there. However, again, women came out in droves just to support the causes. They were just marching for many different things, not just injustices for women, but for people just across the board that are disenfranchised. Whether you are pro-Trump, anti-Trump, the point is we're divided, and we just really need to figure out how we can work together. So one of the ways we can do that is by voting, right? I feel like we can't just only march and say we're discontented with the way a lot of things are going. We have to take action, and marching is a way to do so. But we also need to do it where the polls are concerned. And so be sure when November hits that you are at those polls making your voices heard that way as well. There's a part of me that feels a sense of pride that we're able to experience this just because it's very reminiscent of what it might have felt like to be back in the civil rights movement. No, of course, under the circumstances, it's not ideal, but we get to be a part of history, which is really, really cool. So I'm enjoying that a little bit. And speaking of enjoyment, you know, there were a lot of movies that came out this year, and the Oscar nominations are in. They were presented by Tiffany Haddish and Andy Serkis. And Tiffany Haddish, many feel like, was snubbed for her performance in Girls Trip, and so the movie did not receive any nominations at all where the Oscars are concerned. However, she did have the opportunity to present the nominations, and she's getting flack because she mispronounced a few names. Hey, some of those names are really hard to say, okay? So give her a break. She did her best, and she's a funny gal, so I'm sure she made it funny. But, you know, there's all this talk in recent years about Oscars so white, and, you know, there were a lot of boycotts and stuff that were happening around it, and people were just not happy. Well, this year they can be very pleased because it's Oscars so black. If you ask me, I mean, and I love it. You know, diversity is key. It's important. It's very necessary. So I love that there's a diverse group of actors that are being recognized. And on the list is Daniel Kaluuya, and maybe I might have a Tiffany Haddish moment. I hope I'm saying his last name right. He was nominated for Best Actor for his role in Get Out. Get Out did very well in these nominations, actually. Jordan Peele got nominated for Best Director, and the film also got nominated for Best Original Screenplay. So kudos to them. Congratulations. That's phenomenal. Octavia Spencer is also nominated. She is a three-peat, right? She's been nominated for the last 3 years for her roles. This year, she's nominated for her role in The Shape of Water. I have not seen The Shape of Water, but I feel like that's kind of the way the Oscars go. Like, there's all these movies that get nominated, and you're like, I've never seen it, and then you kind of go check it out and see what you think. But I'm also nominated for a movie that I did not see, but I'm hearing great things about, and it's all the rage, is Mary J. Blige. She got 2 nominations for the same category as Viola Davis, Best Supporting Actress for Mudbound, and also for Best Original Song. So congratulations to her. Mary is having a fantastic year. Though she's had some personal troubles with the divorce from her husband, Kendu Isaacs, talk about winning. Yes, girl, she is not sitting down and in a corner moping about this situation. She is like, I am going to continue doing me and see you in the dust. Now, I'm not condoning divorce at all, because I myself am married, and family is important, and wherever people decide to separate from each other is their own personal choice. But I'm just stating that she is just continuing to live and just really blow us out the water. This Kendu ex-husband of hers is out here saying that he is so distressed by the divorce to the point of not being hireable anymore. As far as I'm concerned right now, a man who can sit and say he is unhireable because he is divorced when he is getting spousal support from her and continuing to request more money from her, he's not only unhireable, he's a lot of uns, and one of them is undateable, unlikable. Shall I say any more? Moving on to other people who were nominated, and this came as a bit of a shocker, is Kobe Bryant. He's nominated for Best Animated Short Film for the film that was made for him, the film that was made for when he retired his 2 jerseys from the Lakers. He had a fabulous career with the Lakers. We all know that. He's like one of the best basketball players ever. And there was a beautiful film that was shown, prior to the whole jersey retirement ceremony. And I watched it because in our home we're big basketball fans, and so we sat and we watched, even with our little baby, and he was totally into it. But the cartoon was cool. It was cute, Oscar worthy. I didn't think about it. It didn't cross my mind. But hey, he's getting the recognition, so congratulations to him. Congratulations to everyone that's been nominated. I'm rooting for everybody Black, of course. Not nominated, in fact, is James Franco. He was not nominated for his role, and that's causing a lot of issues, especially in conjunction with the fact that Kobe has been nominated, because with all the sexual allegations, situations that are taking place right now, people feel like if you have ever sexually violated anybody, you should not have the platform to be nominated. But Kobe's situation was a few years ago, and James Franco's is more recent, and so people are saying, well, exactly that. Kobe's was a few years ago. He had his case and everything, and that was resolved, and James Franco is still kind of pending, essentially. So they feel like, well, you know what? No, neither one of them should have gotten nominated. And, there's lots of arguments that are saying, well, people will not be nominating based on their own personal life, based on them being graded on who they are from day to day, but this is about the craft and the work that they put out that we gravitate to, that we love, that we enjoy. So let's just keep it based on that and not on their personal lives. But I feel like the two intertwine somehow, because they are celebrities, they are in the public light, and as unfortunate as it is, and their lives are under a microscope, and whatever they do becomes public. Like, they really don't have personal lives, essentially. So hey, I don't really know where I stand, honestly, where that's concerned. I haven't really given it much thought as to whether they should be judged based on their craft or as a total package, craft and personal life. So, but you guys let me know what you think. What do you think? Should Kobe have not been nominated because he had that whole fiasco a few years ago? I don't know. You tell me what you think. While you think about it, let's move on to Housewives of Atlanta. I haven't recapped anything Housewives thus far. The season, I'm not really sure the direction that they're going with this. It's their 10th season, and I'm just still kind of feeling it out. I feel like there's this one kind of storyline around Kenya, and the invisible husband, and Nene being back and being in charge and just trying to reclaim her throne, and then the beef between Candy and Portia just still permeates, and Cynthia's trying to find a storyline since she's no longer with Peter, and just this new guy who's supposedly like a gold digger and an opportunist, and okay. So Kim Zolciak is back in the picture, and she's trying to regain her peach again, it seems, and she's been having fights. This is what they do on Housewives, right, guys? You do know that this is not real. They call it reality TV, but I'm here to inform you, just in case that you did not know, this is not real. These things are, in fact, scripted. I know for a fact. Trust me, I do know. I'm not telling you stuff that I have no knowledge about. So Kim Zolciak is fighting with Nene now, you know, accusing her of being on drugs, and then there was the whole issue with her daughter and the roach fiasco in the bathroom. Oh my goodness, it was all over social media. But the new fight she has now is with Kandi. And you know, last year Kandi and Portia, along with Phaedra, were just in this terrible situation where they accused her of doing vile things, and it just wasn't true. They just really tried to taint her character. So here comes Kim now having a conversation with, I forget who it was she was talking to, but anyway, she accused Kandi of wanting to do things with her. Oh my gosh. Okay, so like, reality TV is cool, you know, people are, you know, finding a new way to make a living, they're getting their money, they're getting checks, but guys, I don't know about you, but grown women, grown men, like this whole fake frenemy business is just not cool. It's not cool at all. And it's saddening because people actually, they have so much influence on the viewers that people start adopting this behavior into their lives. You know what I mean? And then you have grown women and even young girls walking around thinking that this is cool. Like, you can talk trash about each other and then still be friends, whatever. Okay, these women are getting paid to behave this way, right? And not that it's right that because you get money you should do ridiculous things, but y'all are walking around here acting housewives-ish for free. Okay, so I'm gonna need you to cut it out and know that this is not real. Like, this stuff is not real. All right, but I am excited for the season moving forward because they do have Eva Marcel joining the cast, and she's engaged to this guy that was running for mayor, and she's also pregnant, and she's friends with Nene, and she might replace Kenya. By the way, that last episode with Kenya and them doing the work down in Houston, and she was just being very drill sergeant-ish. I think the direction that they're gonna try to go in is and say is, oh, you know, she's having mood swings because she's pregnant or whatever. We'll see. You know, she was spotted down in Barbados at a fertility clinic, so we'll see. We'll see. You know, Kenya had like this big blow up, and then she had the cameras. She wanted her mic off and the cameras off of her, and she was saying this is why her husband doesn't want to be involved in these things. Well, you know what? Outside of all of the women, Kenya is the only one. Okay, well, let's take into consideration her hair care line, more hair care. Have you seen it in the stores? Because I haven't, but she has hair care line, and she might only do that in Housewives, because all of the other women, you see them on a consistent basis. They're doing things. Like Kim has Don't Be Tardy for the Party. Then Nene has, well, she was on Fashion Police, but that's canceled. But she's around town doing things, and she also has her store. Then Kandi has the OLG. She has Escape is back together. She also has that Tags boutique. Cynthia, even though, you know, she may not have a man, but she has businesses. Like, she's running Cynthia Bailey Eyewear, Cargo by Cynthia Bailey. She has the candles. She's doing things. Everybody else, and maybe except Sheree too, because I don't know what else she's doing other than Housewives. But we're talking about Kenya right now. So, you know, I don't know what else she's doing for money, but I think she needs Housewives. I'm just saying. Not that, you know, the way they behave is the appropriate thing, and I feel like people should really be careful about what they allow to penetrate into their souls. You can watch the Ratchet TV. It provides entertainment for, you know, whatever, but just be very careful about how much of it you allow to absorb into who you are, you know, because it seems like people out here winning. You've got the Cardi B's of the world at a Billboard charting and, you know, making money and all that stuff, but just be, you know, toe the line, figure out what works for you personally, and not, you know, getting caught up into, you know, people's lives. And speaking of getting caught up into people's lives, Ciara put out this video from Pastor John Gray, and she's getting a lot of flack on it. People are in agreement with her and people are not in agreement with her. And again, like I stated earlier, when you're in the public life, everything that you do is public. Social media, you put stuff out there and people just have at it. They just, tear you apart. Everything that you do is for the picking. Now, the video from Pastor Gray, he's talking about, walking in the spirit of a wife versus walking in the spirit of a girlfriend. And he quotes scripture that says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. And so he's saying, the Bible doesn't say he who sees a woman and is attracted to her and then starts to date her and then becomes her fiance and then, becomes a wife. It says he who finds a wife finds a good thing. Now, let's take this into context here, because back in the day, people did not date, right? Like, it was like, I see you, I like you, we're getting married. So the whole dating process back then was not, it just didn't happen. So we need to be very careful. And I feel like this is how people get led astray, because they don't really take the fullness of things into context. But, so he's saying, like, you don't need a husband to be a wife. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that, because if that wasn't the case, then what would be the point of marriage? Because it's only when you are married you can be considered a wife and then a husband. Other than that, you're just, I'm sure, you're you, and you date and you hope to get married and all those different things. So I feel like, yeah, I understand the point he's trying to make is to basically say, like, okay, if you need to present yourself a certain way. You need to set certain standards, have certain characteristics, and, work on your stuff, love you, be solid in who you are, level up, for lack of a better word, and all that stuff. And those things are true, but you need to be doing that for you. First of all, like, not for a husband, to just do that for you, self-care, self-love, for your own person. So, I don't agree. I don't agree with him saying that, you need to walk in the spirit of a wife and not in the spirit of a girlfriend, because there are a lot of people out here walking in wife spirits, and honey, they have not caught a husband. Okay. People are here like giving up, wifely behavior, and no one's wifing them, because why? They say, why buy the car when you get the milk for free? So no, you do not. I mean, when a man sees you, meets you and sees you, there's different qualities that he sees in you, and as the relationship grows, yes, from the girlfriend to the fiance and then to the wife, there are different progressions of that, and that's what life is about in general. Like, you can't be, the wife from the time that he meets you and then you get married, and then what, right? Where's the growth? So I'm saying I don't agree with Pastor Gray. I understand why Ciara put the video out. For her, it was basically she was basically reflecting, like, when she was with Future, maybe she wasn't in a position where she, like, really valued who she was clear on her path and all her values and goals. And so she attracted a man like him. And I'm not saying anything against him, but for her and him, it didn't work. And now she's married to Russell Wilson, who she is her husband, the guy of her dreams, what she wanted for the space that she was in after her breakup with Future. And that's totally okay. No problems with that. But I again want to say that, people have to live their lives for what works for them. Now, you can look to celebrities and other figures for inspiration, and that's great, because there are some things and different attributes from people that you're like, man, I really admire that. Like, I would like to adopt that. But don't be out here trying to live your life exactly the same way that somebody else is doing it, because your life is yours. Your experiences are your own, and that's what makes you you. So, Pastor Gray, I don't agree with you. You need to have a husband in order to be a wife, and vice versa. And you're not saying to men, walk in the spirit of a husband so that you can find a wife. I mean, it goes both ways. And if you read scripture, you'll understand that, both roles are very valuable, husband and wife. You know what I mean? The husband is supposed to love the wife the way he loves the church. Do you know what I mean? He's supposed to present her radiant. Those are all attributes that a husband needs to have. So it's not only the woman that needs to get herself together. That's all we'll say on that. And then I'll switch gears to congratulatory news. Congratulations to my guy, Lebron James. He just made 30,000 points, the youngest basketball player to do it. What an accomplishment. He's somebody that's rather inspirational. I thoroughly enjoy just watching his growth. Like, I remember when he came out of high school, was drafted at 18, and there was just a lot of hype around him, and he's lived up to it as far as I'm concerned. And of course, you know, in his career, he had the whole Miami bit, and he left Cleveland and people were burning his jerseys, and then he returned to Cleveland and he brought them the championship, and all is well with the world. And now he has 30,000 points, youngest player to ever do it. So congratulations to him. I just love his family, his wife Savannah, the 3 children, the way he, for someone who didn't attain more than a high school degree, and no offense to anybody that hasn't done it, but he's just a great example of how, even though you did not finish schooling and graduated to like a collegiate level, that you can still be educated, intelligent, intellectual, all of those things. And that's exactly who he is. I mean, when I listen to him speak, my husband and I actually make fun of the fact that for some of the guys that you know that did go to college, and we do know, of course, like they just draft them because they want them to play basketball and stuff, and so they're not really going to class. We see that if you watch Grownish, there was an episode about that on there a few weeks ago, and so check it out. That was really cool. But it's a clear representation of like, okay, when you are drafted for a sports scholarship, that you really don't go to class. So that shows in a lot of the guys who supposedly went to great universities. When they speak, you're like, huh? There's a particular player that I'm not going to call him out because I'm not into calling people out unless it's absolutely necessary, and in this case it isn't. But you know, we make fun of him, and he just really doesn't speak like somebody that has attained a college degree, and he probably didn't, because he, anyway. LeBron, congratulations, kudos to you. Keep doing it. You know, he put out a post to his younger self just saying, man, you know, congratulations from where you come from. Just take a moment to soak it all in. And I think that's very important. I feel like a lot of times when we're accomplishing things in life, you know, we're supposed to kind of be, you know, humble. Yes, that's important. You do need to be humble about it. But then you've got to look at yourself sometimes and be like, I'm good at that. Like, yeah, I did that, you know, and not in a braggadocious way, but just like, wow, like I really accomplished that. And considering where LeBron came from in Akron, Ohio, now I've never been there, but I've heard that it's, you know, bad or whatever, you know, he had a tough upbringing, single mother, all that stuff. But to where he is now, I mean, no one could take that away from him. Like, he worked so hard to be where he is, and he deserves all the praise that he's getting. And then he also deserves to take time to really just say, you know what, I am good at what I do. And that's all the pop talk I have for you today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Of course, it doesn't have to end here. You can always come back and see me by subscribing. You know how to do that. Hit the button, like, right? And, you know, you could turn on the little thing so you can see when I post new videos. But thanks for joining me again. And until next time, darlings. Ciao.